Welcome back to another exciting class in the Galactic Shamanism series. I'm the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Art School and your certified instructor, Gwilda Wiyaka. While shamanism is often seen as an earth-based modality, the shamanism practiced the last time we were in a high-frequency era was actually a galactic form. As we enter the dynamic frequency of the Aquarian Age, this more expansive shamanic form is once again becoming available. It is this ancient galactic-oriented shamanism dating back to the last age of Leo and beyond that can aid us during evolutionary times. Galactic Shamanism, Art of the Ancients, Key to Tomorrow, is a series of leading-edge classes designed to aid and empower you throughout these times of transition. All of the classes in the Galactic Shamanism series employ the circular learning technique and therefore build on each other. It's important to take them in order to get the greatest understanding of the material and achieve the complete skill set as you build your personalized shamanic practice. It's my hope that these classes support you on your path to wholeness and enlightenment as we become our potential. This is Galactic Shamanism, Lesson 3, Sanctuary, the Shamanic Art of Sacred Space. I'm your instructor, Gwilda Wiyaka. There's a common desire most humans share. We all long for a safe place to rest our heart. To some, it's represented by another person or a home. For many, it's a church, mosque, or synagogue. And still others, the wilderness. But the underlying need is the same: sanctuary. This refuge has become very rare as our lifestyles include an almost constant bombardment of noise, traffic, media, and demands on our attention. Our homes are invaded by multiple cell phones, telemarketing calls, tablets, and blaring televisions. Even the wilderness has become overrun by ATVs, motocross, and four-wheel drives. One year, on my annual solo backpacking trip, I'd hiked for nearly 3 days to find sanctuary, only to be literally blasted off the trail, supposedly closed to motor vehicles, by no less than 6 motorcycles. Animals scattered, the birds silenced, and the stench of exhaust and the unbearable noise pollution lasted long after the dust-slinging, turf-tearing machines were out of sight. I was so furious I was in tears. So I did what I always do when confronted with something upsetting. I journeyed on it. I feel so trapped. There's nowhere sacred anymore. Where can I find sanctuary? I complained to Spirit. You must build it. Sanctuary comes from within, was the less than helpful reply. Urgh. In the years following, I've come to realize how accurate the statement really was. Never has there been a time when sanctuary is more needed or harder to find. Yet sanctuary is not a place, but a frequency created by the heart. Jesus left us with one commandment: to love. Problem being, our hearts are broken and shut down, while the mind rules, demanding ever more stimulation to distract us from the pain of our broken hearts. Without the expansive, supportive frequency of sacred space, we languish. All we do and create is diminished. Within the environment of sanctuary, we learn more, create more, and evolve beyond our limitations. How can we learn to create sanctuary once again? The ancient practice of shamanism holds the key to recreating the sacred space we all crave. Sanctuary, the shamanic art of sacred space, the third lesson in the Galactic Shamanism series, is designed to bring into modern times the ancient art of creating an expansive frequency environment. From this greater bandwidth, we can access our creativity, transcend our limitations, and become our potential. These powerful skills will enable you to create an environment for you and your loved ones that will support and enhance all that you do. For this class, you'll need the following items: Sanctuary, the Shamanic Art of Sacred Space, Workbook 1 by Gwilda Wiyaka. The Dream Codex by Mary Summer Rain. Animals Speak by Ted Andrews. A Journey CD or MP3, either Betwixt and Between or On Wings of Spirit by Gwilda Wiyaka. A bandana or eye pillow to cover your eyes. a pillow and blanket to comfortably lie on the floor. Lying on the floor is more grounding and different enough from a bed that your body won't think it's time for a nap. It's always fun to have a special journal, but a spiral notebook will serve as well. A magnetic compass. Because shamanism works with the electromagnetic field of the earth, it's best to use a magnetic compass rather than the one on your phone. The one shown here is easy to use, inexpensive, and durable. An altar cloth. It can be a simple square bandana, a piece of leather, or a handmade one as pictured here. A rattle. Pictured here are three options: a handmade gourd, handmade elk hide, or a store-bought egg shaker. Sage and a fireproof container to burn it in. California white sage is best. Both loose or bundled sage work well. Fire. And here we have the traditional sacred fire stick. 4 directional markers, one each: yellow, red, black, and white. Carvings are nice, but you can go out in nature and find simple rocks of the appropriate size and color. Note, the colors may change as you develop your personal practice. A candle and candle holder, an earthen bowl and water. This list is in your student handout, along with links to the required books and CDs or MP3s. Collect altar items that match the size of your altar cloth and the space you've chosen to set it in. As you recall, we start all classes by setting basic sacred space using some of the principles we covered in Lesson 1 and 2. The purpose of setting space is to establish a balanced, expansive frequency environment. Sacred space is a vast subject that we'll be introducing this lesson. Throughout this class, you'll obtain personalized prayers and tools for your altar, but for now, we'll start out by activating the basic altar as we set up in prior lessons. This will establish an earth connection and create an optimum environment in which to start our work. Remember, all we do, including taking in information and performing ceremony, is enhanced by a balanced environment that's aligned with the earth and stellar energies. Instructions for setting and activating the basic altar are in your student handout. The burning candle represents the elements air and fire. For this class, we've added an earthen bowl and water to complete our physical representation of the 4 elements on your altar. You'll place the water in the bowl in the northwest corner of the altar. The beauty of a digital class is that you can pause me. If you've not already set up and activated your altar, go ahead and put me on hold in order to do so. Just don't leave me here too long. Rigor mortis may set in. Nice to see you back. Casting a circle is a term used for calling in the 5 directions: east, south, west, north, and center. Center consists of earth, sky, and heart. The purpose of casting a circle is to consciously bring our electromagnetic field into alignment with that of the planet in order to be supported by the power of nature rather than working against it. Another very interesting advantage of casting a circle for class is I've also set up an altar in the room where this lesson is being filmed. For every class, I set up sacred space that exists in Middle World, but outside of time and space. My intent includes that the space is available for my students anytime they set space for a particular class. My space is aligned with the Earth, and when you establish Earth alignment also, you have energetic access to the time and place that I performed the class. This greatly enhances the material as you have access to the frequency of the class as well as the filming of the information. Remember, shaman are frequency masters. Much of what you're learning from here forward will be absorbed by your energetic field as well as your mind. In short, don't skip setting sacred space and activating your altar. It's very important to your process. From this class on, please set sacred space in your environment before we begin class, setting the intent to align with not only the earth, but with the space and energetic information of the class. Sanctuary. As I hike in the high Colorado mountains, The trail gently winds down to a stream, then opens up, entering an ancient stand of trees. Light filters through the pine, casting rays of warmth onto the cool, rich loam at their bases. The air, kissed by the moisture from the bubbling stream, brushes past my face in a tender caress. As I settle down on a flat boulder to rest, birds, silenced by my arrival, take up their song. I calm my body, still my mind, and I'm there. Sanctuary. I step from the Arizona sun through an adobe archway into the courtyard sheltered by trees. Water in a three-tiered fountain cascades into the base, filling the air with its vapor. The perfume from the flower bed dances on the gentle breeze. In the midst of flowering cactus, vines, and roses, her blue robes faded by the sun, statuary of the Madonna, stands timeless and serene. I step from the path and sit on a sandstone bench. A small lizard, disturbed by my presence, scampers under a leaf. Mourning doves call to each other from the branches of the deciduous trees. I close my eyes, embrace the moment, and I'm there. Sanctuary. Leaving the busy city street, I pass under a torii gate through the red door onto the polished hardwood floor of a small entryway. I remove my shoes and don the slippers thoughtfully left there for my use. My friend greets me, inviting me into the sparsely furnished room. We sit on soft cushions next to a low table flanked by bamboo plants in tall black vases. A brass fountain with floating chimes sings softly. She pours tea into white porcelain cups, the sound of the liquid joining the symphony of running water and chimes. I lift the handleless cup to my face and inhale its jasmine essence. Time stands still. I close my mind in pleasure, and I'm there. Sanctuary. I never cease to wonder at this mystic place found many places, this hollow ground nestled magically amongst the mundane. Beauty springs of it in the midst of the city or the desert. Within it, all things flourish, as it caresses the senses and nourishes the soul. Sanctuary. So, what is sacred space anyway? Sacred space is not so much a place as it is our interaction with our environment. It involves beauty because of our reaction to the aesthetic, yet even the marred or mundane can become beautiful within it. It usually requires a safe, quiet, undemanding environment so the mind can rest, allowing our heart to engage. Yet, once mastery is achieved, we can create sacred space in the middle of chaos. Sacred space is the non-polarized, unified, expansive frequency of acceptance, gratitude, and unconditional love. In our artificial world of accusation and dissatisfaction, it's a rare commodity indeed, as even the most beautiful articles become ugly and coarse when subject to our negative judgments rather than loving appreciation and gratitude. My grandmother had a chipped porcelain teacup that had belonged to her grandmother before her. She used to lovingly heat cocoa, pour it into her treasured heirloom, and serve it to me. I can still remember her gnarled, arthritic hands gently and lovingly handling the cup as she set it before me. I thought it was the most gorgeous thing ever, with its gilded handle and painted roses and birds. That is, until the day my mother took her to task for serving me cocoa out of that ancient, chipped, stained thing. It never looked the same again. What a desecration! Yet, we execute the same desecration on a daily basis, finding fault with what we have, always wanting something better. Let's examine the scientific principles behind the concept of sacred space and our ability to either create or desecrate it. As you recall from Galactic Shamanism Lesson 1, the Earth's spin around her iron core creates an electromagnetic field in the form of a torus. This field enters through the North Pole and exits through the South. The human electromagnetic or toroidal field is created by the heart pumping the blood in a spiral configuration, spinning the red blood cells which contain iron. The human and the Earth's electromagnetic field enters the body through the crown, or in the case of the planet, the North Pole, and exits through the perineum, or the South Pole. When the human electromagnetic field is in alignment with that of the Earth, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of the human aura are supported and empowered by the Earth's toroidal field. This support creates a more expansive frequency range that enhances all that we do. So far, nothing new, right? The heart pumps and spins blood as long as we're alive, creating the electromagnetic field around the human body. At any time we engage ceremony to align the human electromagnetic field with that of the Earth, we're empowered by her. This holds true whether we're coming through our heart or our head. Now let's take this one step further. I watched a very interesting documentary some years back about a recent discovery that NASA was researching. Apparently, everywhere the Earth's electromagnetic or toroidal field crosses that of the Sun, so-called X-points are created. These X-points are actually wormholes or shortened distance between time and space. Yes, just like science fiction. Naturally, NASA has all sorts of probes out there trying to catch one and enter it. Yet this is not the first I heard of the X-points. Most all my shamanic training from my indigenous elders included the phenomenon. It's through X-points that the shaman enters the quantum level and transcends time and space. Everything is surrounded by an electromagnetic field, from people to animals to trees or the elements. We all sport toroidal fields which intersect and interact. This is why in Lesson 2, the shamanic journey, we use a jumping off spot in Middle World, focusing on an actual Earth location. The location contained at least one of the four elements: water, air, earth, or fire. The elements have nice, strong, balanced toroidal fields. By setting up an alignment with the toroidal field of the jumping off spot, we created X-points, enabling us to transcend time and space in order to enter non-ordinary reality or journey space. X-points serve as the access point to the quantum level, and through shamanic ritual, shamans navigate them at will. If you're waiting for your mind to find its way through an X-point, however, you're doomed to disappointment. Remember, it's the heart, not the mind, that spins the blood containing iron, creating the electromagnetic field of the human body. The human toroidal field is created and maintained by the heart. The heart, not the mind, is the access point to the quantum level, where all things are unified and all possibility exists. The language of the heart is love, not logic. But we've been raised in a very mind-based society. Very few of us really have understanding, much less mastery, of heart-centered living. The only way to find and navigate X-points is through the heart connection. As you recall in Class 2, the shamanic journey, I mentioned using my favorite childhood tree as one of my jumping off spots to go to lower world. Why a tree from the past that has since been chopped down? Why not one in my current backyard? As a child, I was very lonely. I made friends with that tree and love it dearly to this day. I have a deep heart connection with it, established before I was taught that one doesn't talk to and make friends with trees. When I bring the tree to mind, my heart automatically opens, granting me access to the X-points created between the toroidal field of the tree and my own. The same is true of my power animals. They may be allegorical, but to me, they're also real. Some of them are even alive in my life at one time. If you really think about it, we're all allegorical in this holographic universe, but that too is a subject for another class. I love my power animals and jumping off spots. Through that love, we navigate X-points. In summary, everywhere the human toroidal or electromagnetic field crosses that of the Earth, another person, or any of the elements, X-points are created. This happens through our electromagnetic or energetic body, which is also present with our spirit body, unbound by time and space. By navigating these X-points, we have instant access to the quantum level, and along with it, the information and power to be found there. While our life and intent can be empowered by alignment with the Earth's spin, regardless if we're focused in the mind or in the heart, access through the X-points is only available through the alignment of the heart. This alignment is achieved through love, which takes us back to my grandmother's chipped teacup. When she served me cocoa, her heart was open and she was sharing her most treasured cup with me. As long as she and I were in that open heart space, the cup was beautiful and the moment poignant. Upon my mother's criticism, my grandmother went into shame and her heart shut down. The transformation was extreme and profound, the desecration complete. You see, X points are a two-way street. When our hearts are open, we're not only able to enter the quantum level, but we actually channel the unified frequency through our hearts back into ordinary reality world, creating something quite extraordinary, sacred space. This leads us to what we unwittingly do to ourselves, each other, and our belongings on a daily basis with negative judgment and fault finding. Who out there can say they're really happy with their weight, looks, or for that matter, perceived personality and capabilities? In a consumer-driven society, we're conditioned to be dissatisfied with everything from our possessions to the very essence of who we are. The message is we're only as good as our belongings, and there's always something better out there to be had. This is consistently programmed into us by media and advertising, causing us to judge against what we have and pursue the unobtainable. Through the projected frequency of inadequacy, we render even the finest heirloom insignificant. We suffer shame, shut down our heart, and in so doing, restrict ourselves to the grim reality of lack we have unwittingly created. Whether our spouse, our children, or our possessions, we have thus desecrated the sacred. Everything expresses according to frequency, and everything is subject to the frequencies we carry. Reality is frequency, and we are co-creators of reality. We've become an inside-out, upside-down, backwards race that projects inadequacy into everything in our environment. Then we wonder why all we have seems subpar. My spirit helpers were so right. We must build sacred space. Sanctuary comes from within and can only be accessed through an open, loving heart. If we do nothing more than channel sacred space into the mundane, we'll have provided the greatest service imaginable. Sanctuary. Sanctuary gives us a safe place in which to open our heart. Yet, the building of sanctuary can only be accomplished through an open heart. If we need sanctuary to open our heart, but must have an open heart to build it, we would appear to be in a gigantic catch-22. And it would be a deal breaker except for the mastery of heart-centered living I mentioned earlier. Every shamanic tradition references the sacred spiral. This sacred spiral is generated by the heart pumping blood in a spiral configuration, spinning the red blood cells containing iron. This phenomenon not only generates the human electromagnetic field, but it also creates an energetic sanctum in the human heart, the place within that sanctuary can be found. So, how do we access this inner sanctum? In order to access inner sanctum, we'll perform a journey. Lie down on the floor on a blanket. Cover yourself with another blanket if you need for comfort. Lay back with your head on a pillow and cover your eyes with your bandana. Put on your headset with your CD or MP3 set to track 4 on either Betwixt and Between or on Wings of Spirit drumming. Journey to the secret chamber of your heart. This is a middle world journey to your physical heart. Call your power animal to you. Tell it you wish to take a middle world journey to the secret chamber of your heart. See yourself sit up out of your body and join your power animal as you have in the past. Hover over your physical body and imagine yourself shrinking down very small before entering through the chest into your heart. Once there, it should open up into a chamber. Our task here is to build a subroutine to access this space at will. In order to do this, we'll work with frequency. Frequency has different harmonics that express in unique ways. Each reality is a conglomeration of frequencies. We'll use sound, light, and allegory to build subroutine to recreate the frequency reality of your secret chamber. Just hang out in the chamber for a while and really get a felt sense of what it's like to be there. Allow the feeling to sink into the very core of your spirit body. Ask to be given a color or colors to represent the space. Next, ask for a power animal or helping spirit to represent the space and help you return at will. Once the animal or spirit shows up, ask it to show you how it'll work together to access the secret chamber. Next, ask for a sound or tone to represent the space. Allow the tone to move through your body and emerge as a sound. Don't concern yourself with how it sounds so much as how it feels as your voice vibrates through your body. The tone will probably change. Just allow it to do so without judging it. This is a physical attunement. The sounds you make will be a counterbalancing frequency to the places in your physical body that are locked down and unable to express heart. Some people find this exercise quite emotional. If you find it so, allow the feelings to flow through you and into the earth under where you're laying on the floor. Once you feel complete, ask to be given a symbol or a key to help you return to this place at will. Thank your heart and all the helpers you have encountered. Join your power animal and leave your heart once again to hover over your body. Return to your normal spirit size, thank your power animal, and see yourself lie down back into your body. Sit up and journal your experience using your reference texts, Mary Summer Rain's Dream Codex, and Ted Andrews' Animal Speak, to look up and record any animals or allegories you've encountered on your trip. So, pause me, lie back, turn on your headset, and embark on your journey inward. Through this journey exercise, you'll have created a subroutine that you can use anytime you need to access heart space. Simply close your eyes, take a deep breath, invite your heart space power animal or helping spirit to come to you. Bring your symbol or key to mind along with the color and sound. Envision yourself sinking into your heart. Take another deep breath into your heart and release it into the world or situation. Take time to perform the subroutine daily to really master it. I've worked with my subroutine so rigorously that I can do this almost instantaneously. It's amazing to watch the change that comes to any difficult situation if I drop into my heart and come from there before responding to any challenge. Arguments sputter and die, threats disappear, and situations transform immediately when presented with a unified frequency of heart. It's truly magic. When building the frequency of sacred space in ordinary reality, we find ourselves confronted with having to correct all the frequency imbalances currently present in our environment. This is a large job that's most likely been neglected for generations. Whether something has been judged against or has been expected to carry our ego, most everything in our possession and environment is in a state of imbalance. But before we back up the Goodwill truck and clean house, let's start with something a bit simpler. We can improve the frequency of our environment by performing a ceremony. By refining our practice to better align with us as individuals, our ceremonies will be much more effective. If we use articles and prayers we really feel a connection with, it's much easier to operate from an open heart. For instance, if I choose to use a stone bear my son gave me for the west position on my altar, I'll have a much deeper heart connection to it than if I'd used something I simply picked up for the purpose. If I compose my prayers to the directions to reflect my personal faith, they'll mean much more and engage my heart on a deeper level than ones I learned from someone else. If the prayers we use and the objects we select for our practice are in alignment with us as individuals, it's much easier to feel appreciation, love, and gratitude for them and what they accomplish. Before doing any of the following exercises, use your subroutine to drop into the secret chamber of your heart. Now let's start with a prayer of gratitude, one for morning and one for evening. The following is very flexible and has a formula you can use to build your own prayer. I thank you, O giver of life, that I've risen again today to the rising of life itself. As the mist scatters from the crest of the hills, may every ill haze clear from my soul. The formula is as follows. I thank you whomever you'd like to thank. That, what are you grateful for? 2, qualify. As, action. May, intent. This simple formula works really well when you drop into your heart and take the content from your environment. For example, I thank you, beloved earth, that I may stand this day upon your breast, to take each step in loving reverence. As I walk through my day, may every footfall be one of gratitude. Next, go through each of the prayers we used to call in the directions and customize them to best fit with you and your belief systems. For instance, in my personal practice, my prayer to the sky is, Spirit of the sky, please join me, land of star nations, angels, saints, and Christ, Father of all living things, source of guidance. Please fill me with your gifts, powers, glory, your strength and magic. Please join in my heart with the Mother, that we can create the sacred marriage to bring into this world, through this work, through the will of the Great Spirit, to best serve all concerned. Spirit of the sky, star nation, please join me. Also, if you take time to customize your directional prayers to the task at hand, it's much easier to create and maintain a balanced frequency within your practice. Now let's take a look at your altar. So far, we've used a generic one based on the most common principles. To customize, you'll need to journey on what best aligns with you for your personal practice. We'll continue to use the 7 directions aligned with the Earth's magnetic field, but what color represents each direction, what animal is found there, and what you'd like to use to represent it can be found in journey work. Customizing your altar will involve 5 separate journeys, 1 to each direction, the east, south, west, and north, 1 to your power animal to ask about the altar cloth, candle, candle holder, and earthen bowl. Decide the purpose of the altar you're building, whether it's a personal altar, one you use on behalf of others. For instance, much of my work is either authoring, teaching, or broadcasting. I've designed an altar and prayers to set space for me personally when I write. I also have a specific altar I activate with particular prayers before every radio episode. The customized altars and prayers are designed to create space for myself, my producer, my guests, and the listeners in order to best serve all concerned. When teaching, I have prayers and an altar I use to activate with my students' participation, much like the one we've been using for these classes. Jot down which activity you intend to create an altar for in your journal. Set your intention and bottom line and record them as well. Run the altar's purpose, your intention, and bottom line past the 5 basic laws of ethical shamanic practice. In review, they are 1. Shamanism works within natural law. 2. Shamanism is not practiced without permission. 3. Shamanism does not impose energy where it does not belong. 4. Shamanism does not take energy away from where it does belong. And 5. Shamanism does no harm. For instance, I might decide to build an altar to provide cover and hold high-frequency sacred space for a friend while they're undergoing surgery. I have the friend's permission, but not that of the surgeon or her team. My intention will be to create sacred space in the operating room that protects my friend while unconscious and provides the optimum environment for the medical team to do their best work. The energy of protection is put upon my friend with his permission. The environment is provided to support the intention of the medical team to do a good job, but is not imposed upon them. My bottom line may be, given I want to stay within the 5 basic laws of ethical shamanic practice and offer the best support for my friend during surgery based upon his intention and bottom line. Once again, assume the position. That is, lay down on the floor with a blanket, cover yourself, lay back with your head on a pillow, put your headset with a drumming CD or MP3 set to track 4, and cover your eyes with your bandana. Take your time with these assignments. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your practice won't be either. Journey work can be exhausting until you get used to it, so don't be afraid to stretch these exercises out over a week or so. In beginning classes, I restrict myself to assigning my students 3 journeys a day, and the rest is homework to be completed before the next class. It's proven to be a pretty good rule of thumb. In this assignment, you'll perform a lower world journey as instructed in Galactic Shamanism Lesson 2, Lower World Journey. Build only one altar at a time. Once you've established purpose, intention, and bottom line, run them by the 5 basic laws and enter them into your journal. Call in your lower world journey power animal and go to your jumping off spot. Perform a lower world journey, asking your power animal to take you to the spirit of the East. Once in lower world and connected with the spirit of the East, inform it of your chosen purpose for your altar, your intention, and bottom line. Ask the East what color to use to represent it, what animal to use, what object to use. It may surprise you how many of the articles you may already have in your possession, like the beloved bear my son gave me. Come back from your journey and journal to what the East told you before repeating the journey for each of the South, West, and North. Then journey to lower world again and ask your power animal what altar cloth, color of candle, candle holder, and what bowl to use. Journal your experience and take time to interpret any allegorical information using your books. Mary Summerain's The Dream Codex for Symbols and Ted Andrews' Animal Speaks for Animals. Once you're clear on the new articles for your customized altar, you can go about the business of collecting what you need. As you collect the articles from your journey, be sure to give gratitude for, clear, and repurpose each one. Use your subroutine to drop into your heart space. Smudge each article with sage smoke. As you do, use your intent to release the prior energy or purpose attached to the articles in order to reset them for the new purpose. Once you've obtained all your articles and the next time you set up sacred space, use them for the directions as directed in Galactic Shamanism Lesson 1, the Medicine Wheel. Align your new altar cloth with the directions. Smudge your cloth before using your compass to locate the 4 directions. Establish the center of the altar by first smudging, then placing the new candle and candle holder in the center of your altar cloth. State, I bless you, center. Starting in the east, just as before, working clockwise, place the article for each direction in the appropriate spot. Hold up the stone for the article you've chosen for the east while facing the east and state, I bless you, east. When you do this, bring to mind what it felt like when you journeyed to the spirit of the east. All the east represents what lies in that direction in the area that you're in, such as a tree in your backyard or a sunrise, and really connect with it. Take time to access your affection for and appreciation of the spirit of the East and all it represents. I may bring to mind a beautiful sunrise that moved me deeply to align with sunrise, or a child I really love to connect with the concept of childhood, and so on. Then place the stone in the East position on the medicine wheel. Repeat the procedure for the South, West, and North. As you perform the ceremony with an open and loving heart, you're actually imbuing all the articles with a more expansive frequency. As you focus on the articles and open your heart to that direction, you channel power from the quantum level specific to your intent. This creates a physical anchor for the qualities of each direction in the articles you have assigned for that purpose, strengthening your practice exponentially. The more you repeat the ceremony, the stronger the alignment and the less effort on your part. By faithful and precise repetition, eventually you will have built yet another subroutine. Once a subroutine is in place, in a pinch, you need only bring your altar to mind when you need to create sacred space, whenever and wherever you are. That's not to say you'll never again need to set up a formal altar. There's really no replacement for the comforting presence of all your sacred articles and your activated altar to support your chosen path. Using the new prayers you've composed, call in the directions to activate your customized altar. Don't be afraid to modify the prayers each time you have a different intent or purpose. It's important to use the same principles, but within that, the more customized the prayers are to the situation, the more power they carry. Okay, I've put it off as long as I dare, but no discussion about sacred space is complete without addressing the stuff we put in it. Everything we own has a frequency. The frequency is actually a conglomeration of frequencies from the composition of the thing itself to every hand that touched it during its creation and thereafter. It also carries the wishes, hopes, and dreams we may have held for it when we acquired it. If it was a gift, it probably carries additional agendas from the giver. All of these energies, wishes, hopes, and agendas are, as a rule, mostly unconscious. For instance, how many of us are conscious and purposeful all day at work? Do we stay focused on what we're doing, or does our mind wander to what's going on the rest of our life? Are we working with gratitude and blessing toward our task, or do we resent spending time on it? When we purchase something, do we do it in gratitude for all that went into creating and delivering it into our hands? Or do we unconsciously hope that the smashing red color will make our house look more impressive to others? Do we hang our happiness on the acquisition, setting it up to fail? When we give someone a gift, do we truly release it to them, or are there still strings attached? Do we have the implied wish that now you'll be grateful? Next time I want something, you'll remember this expensive gift I gave you, or now you'll love me. Every one of these conscious or unconscious intent imbues the articles, establishing its frequency. When you have it in your environment, it influences the overall frequency wherever it's placed. As we contemplate all of this, it's hard not to look around at what surrounds us and throw our hands up in despair. I won't lie to you, it is a big job, this living consciously. Content yourself with the thought that anything you do helps. It's not a matter of perfection. Holding that in mind, I'll share some of the guidelines for acquisition, possession, and release that have helped me. We'll start with what I call spring cleaning. Go through your home or office on a regular basis and reset the energy one room at a time. First, decide the purpose of that particular room. Then evaluate everything in it to see if it's in alignment with that purpose. Bear in mind, things of beauty have purpose, as beauty by its very nature opens our heart and promotes expansive frequency. Remove the things that are not serving the environment and set them aside for further evaluation. Physically clean the room from top to bottom, then smudge it and every object in it. Next is blessing things to their purpose. In this assignment, you'll perform a middle world journey to the origins of every article you've decided belongs in the room. Give gratitude for its original constituents, gifted at some point by the earth herself, all the hands that went into making it and delivering it to you. I call this the blessing way. This simple act sends high frequency down the line of an object's creation, not only raising its frequency, but offering gratitude to those that made it. It also removes the frequency of exploitation that may have been imbued into the article by less than fair trade practices. Rather than boycott an object made in China, I'm balancing the scales by sending an artisan a high free blessing for his or her hard work. The article itself is transformed, creating another anchor for spirit in the mundane. In order to do a middle world blessing journey, start by assuming the position, aka lie down on the floor on a blanket, cover yourself with a blanket if needed, lay back with your head on a pillow, and cover your eyes with your bandana. Put on your headset with a recording on track 4. Hold the article you'll be blessing. If it's too large or unwieldy, bring it to mind. Call your journey power animal to you and explain you wish to go on a middle world journey to give gratitude and blessing to the article you're working with. This will be a middle world journey, so you won't go to your jumping off spot. Instead, simply follow your power animal as the crow flies down the history timeline of each article, giving gratitude every step of the way. Remember to not talk to strangers. Always stay with your power animal and very carefully come and go in the same way every time. This may seem like a huge amount of work at first, but don't forget about the value of the subroutines you'll be building. At this point, when I acquire a new object, I close my eyes and clear it with a thought of sage. I journey down its timeline, giving gratitude before ever leaving the store. To an outsider, it just looks as if I'm pausing to contemplate my purchase. The article is cleared and ready to be purposed before ever entering my home. Purposeful placement can be achieved by using the very basic principles of feng shui or the seven directions. Place furniture and articles in the room in such a way as to create flow and beauty. This also serves to make a living altar out of each room. After deciding the purpose of an article will serve, bless it to that purpose. If the article is to represent abundance, hold it and state, I bless you with the frequency of abundance, before placing it in the northwest corner of the room. If the article is your bed, say, I bless you to support my sleep, and so on. In deciding what to represent and where to place the article representing it, refer to the power of the directions on your altar. You can also look up the basic feng shui principles and employ them as well. Personally, I work with a combination of the two. Next, we need to reduce drag. Everything we own actually owns a piece of our energy. It's therefore very important to be mindful of what we choose to possess. By occasionally taking stock of what we have, determining if it serves to support us, and removing it if it does not, we can refine our environmental frequency and reduce our overall energetic load. If we own things that remind us of or belong to someone else, that person becomes an influence in our environment and therefore imposes upon our personal frequency. By removing or clearing the things that hold us to a frequency that may not be in alignment with who we are or hope to become, we support our purpose. This, in effect, reduces the energetic drag that we must push through to achieve what we have chosen in any circumstance. Now for discernment. By now you've created a pile of doesn't serve articles. Go through this pile and discern if it belongs elsewhere in your environment. If it doesn't, do a middle world journey. Ask your power animal to pull your energy out of the article and release the object to its next purpose, wherever and whomever it may be. This is a very important step, as when we just throw or give things away out of hand, guess what? We throw or give away part of our energy. Fortunately, in shamanism, we're not bound by time or space. We can always do a middle world journey back to the point just before we got rid of something and release it properly. I understand what a seemingly Herculean undertaking this is. My advice? To start with, pick a single room that's very important to you and focus on it. When you've gone through the procedure once, you'll find you've freed up so much energy and the space has become so supportive, you'll be encouraged to continue. My children often tease me about what they call my Zen environment. I simply respond, consider the alternatives. For sacred space to be really customized to your family, it's important that whenever possible, all its members participate in the decisions and ceremonies for the common areas. As well as teaching your children to set sacred space in their rooms empowers them to surround themselves with sanctuary for the rest of their lives. What was once viewed as a miserable chore, clean your room, becomes a magical act of creation. There are several principles my children have found so useful they employ them and pass them on to their offspring. 1. When your life becomes chaotic, start within and work outward. First, enter the sacred chamber of your heart. Next, reset your bedroom before moving further afield. 2. When at all possible, set the head of your bed into the north to sleep aligned with the Earth's magnetic field. 3. When living with others, be sure to include their preferences and input into the setting of common space. 4. Try to be mindful of what you collect. A good rule of thumb is to be willing to let go of something for every new addition. 5. Don't be afraid to reject a gift if it's not well intended. You can be polite, but you're never obligated to take on another's energy or agenda. 6. Be sure to pull your energy out of everything you release and bless it to its new situation. 7. Be mindful what and when you give gifts you totally release any attachment or agenda. 8. Engage your heart in all you do. Unfortunately, it's quite common that when cleaning a space, the task is viewed as menial and resented. As a woman, I feel the most important thing I do is create sacred space as a sanctuary for those I love. Remember, nothing can be received, absorbed, or utilized in the absence of gratitude. For this very reason, every shamanic ceremony, such as this class, is closed with prayers of gratitude. Again, before saying the prayer, take time to really connect with gratitude for all the help, insight, and support you've received during our time together. Return to the altar you set up to create the sacred space for this lesson. Connect and really speak to the spirits that assisted you, including the spirits of the directions and your power animals. Prayer of release and gratitude. Spirits, I thank you for your surrounds, your protection, your enfoldment, and your guidance, and I now release you. Those of you that wish to stay and further protect and guide me are much welcome and greatly appreciated. Blow out the candle on the altar and state, it is ended. Be patient with yourself as you implement what we've shared today. Make it a meditative practice, not a chore. This is a lifetime project. I've chosen to live in a small space high in the Colorado mountains. As with all small spaces, it could become very cluttered if I'm not mindful of what really serves and supports me. I'm not afraid to replace things, but I think long and hard before adding anything. Things are just not that important to me anymore. I understand how burdensome they can become. Yet, it's taken me years of soul searching and living in the shamanic way to reach the level of detachment I now enjoy. A word to the wise from one who's experienced it. Don't get rid of things until you're ready and can do so with a grateful heart. To rip things away too soon is hurtful and counterproductive. Something may not serve, may be burdensome, and have no purpose. But if you're still attached to it, well, that's purpose enough. We've been conditioned for lifetimes to judge ourselves and others by our possessions. It's no wonder we find ourselves attached to them. Be gentle. Take time. You're worth it. For our next class, remember to use your new ceremonies, sacred objects, and prayers to set up your altar and create sacred space before opening the class. When you align with the earth, also align with the class itself, as its space will always be available to you. I look forward to sitting in circle with you again. Until then, may you be surrounded by sanctuary as you live from your heart. Should you find you need additional support on your personal path to wholeness, Path Home offers long-distance shamanic healing sessions performed by Path Home Shamanic Art School certified practitioners worldwide via Skype or phone. You can contact us for appointment on our website, www.findyourpathhome.com, or email us, touchin@findyourpathhome.com. Another wonderful provision for the evolving human being is Mission Evolution Radio Show. As we leave an age of polarization and enter one supporting unity and enlightenment, we're granted a rare opportunity to evolve. This evolution of consciousness requires a different approach. By bringing together seemingly divergent viewpoints and applying them to leading-edge subject matter, we can uncover a more expansive and evolutionary truth. Mission Evolution Radio Show, hosted by yours truly, Gwilda Wiyaka, is a radio program dedicated to bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. During each episode, I speak with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. In collaboration with these gifted people of service to the world, we weave unprecedented leading-edge information so needed in these rapidly changing times. Mission Evolution Radio Show is aired daily and internationally on the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Past innovative episodes can be found on our website, www.missionevolution.org. If you've enjoyed this class, explore our ever-growing collection of classes designed to support spiritual evolution and personal empowerment during these changing times. Stay tuned to www.findyourpathhome.com for our latest offerings. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this, the third lesson in the Galactic Shamanism series, and that it brings you wisdom and comfort on your sacred path to wholeness. Until we meet again, my friends, may you and those you love forever walk in beauty.